have some amazing technology at our fingertips. And that technology can really make for like innovative experiences that we haven't done yet, you know? But when looking at that technology, I'm always constantly saying, like, why are we doing it? Why does it matter? Why should we be using this technology? How is it enhancing the story or the experience I want to tell? Because as soon as you start thinking about technology as like, oh, that's cool, like choose your own adventure, VR is awesome, like you're so submerged in it, like this is so hot, or even AI right now is the hot thing. How can we use it? And for me, that's not the right approach. For me, the approach should be is what is the story I'm trying to tell? Whether it's building a brand, whether it's telling an actual narrative episodically or creating a movie, what is the journey I want to take the consumer on or the audience on? And how is that technology part of the DNA of that idea? My like proof point is always like, if I can tell that story without that technology and it has that same impact, then that story is not the right story for that technology. You've got to be thinking about how the technology is part of the DNA of that story, that if you pull the technology out, that story can't be told in that way or it falls apart. Because very quickly those things can become gimmicky or they can become like very fad and people will see through it. So when I'm looking at these ideas or looking at the technologies that's going, I'm looking for what will people actually care about, what will they want to do. Because when you're making people do work rather than just sitting back and watching an experience, but you're asking them to lean forward and engage, you want to do it in a way that after the first time it might, well, what you don't want to do is it in a way when the first time you see it, oh, that's a fun idea, that's great. And then the second time you do it, like, yeah, it's a cool idea. And then the third time you do it, like, oh, why are you making me do it? Like, that's not how it should be, because that's where it just becomes you're making people do work, and the dividends of that work is not meaningful to the story. The action that I'm taking should give me insight to a character or insight to the brand or insight to the story. It should pull me in, that know, like, oh, what's my next click going to be? Put agency to my actions, really immerse me as a participant in that narrative meaningfully. If I'm giving a user a choice to make on behalf of a character, like, I want that person to feel like that choice that's hanging in the balance is going to be detrimental. I want to be challenged in that choice each time. And that can be for many things. It could be for comedy's sake. Like, there's something that I'm going to do that is going to result in something funny, and how that's going to then have impact on the narrative moving forward. So I'm always looking for, again, not thinking of that product as like, oh, choosing your own adventure, it's going to be fun, I'm going to just choose and do these things, and that you can have this t-shirt and this thing that can be cool, but that should be not the core. The DNA of that narrative should have that technology in, so that every time I'm about to click, I'm nervous or I feel something. I want to be feeling something when I make that click or make that decision. Even like an AR. AR is beautiful, right? I can be in it. I'm immersed in an experience. It's happening all around me. But why? Why you want to tell that story where I'm immersed in it? Is it just to get that visual, that visceral feeling of the situation I'm in, which is fine, but that's doesn't always, I don't think, is enough. I want to know that the reason I can turn around is because I'm going to discover something that I didn't discover. And if I move in this direction, that's going to unfold something that I wouldn't have seen if I moved in this direction. How do we bring like real life choices that we would make in real life into a scenario like that, that really makes me turning my head and looking around or moving forward or engaging in a scenario meaningful? And how does that drive the story forward? How does it expose characters? How does it give me more? Because that's when it becomes meaningful. There's two avenues that I think are going to change the world. And the way we're living right now is not going to be the way we're living in the future. We'll look back at holding our smartphone device and go, remember when we had this smartphone device and we could do it? It's going to feel antiquated. And a big part of this is, for me, there's two things: mixed reality, AR, VR, like headsets are coming. They're not there yet. They're not quite in the space where I think mass market is going to adopt it. But I've tested out some technology that has really proven it out for me. I've seen the Google Glass, I've seen Magic Leap stuff, and some of the even the Snapchat one, and a lot of those were not convincing to me. Like, they always felt like, I've got this like diluted screen that sits on my glasses, and yeah, it interacts with the world, and that's cool, but it just doesn't feel like that's going to be the thing that takes the world by storm. But I have tested stuff where it's full peripheral, it's full corporeal. Like, there will be a painting on a wall that's of like the starry sky, and I'll zoom in and zoom in, and it's like it's right in front of me in AR. So this is hanging on a wall in a real space. Comes in and I can see every brushstroke, and the detail is phenomenal. I walked around like a museum where there's like statues of David, and they're standing in the room, and it's like they're really there. There was another one where there was this dinosaur alien bird that would follow me around, going, "Quack, quack." And it was there, and only until I broke the mesh and looked inside did it feel unreal. Like the feathers, everything, like the fidelity was incredible. And when I saw that was when I realized this will change the world. We're still a little ways there yet between what those devices are going to be, how heavy they're going to be, how long can I wear them, can they get down to glasses shape, what are we going to do with the battery pack, all that kind of stuff. But it will come. That's going to come. And why it will take over is because it will make me a superhero when I'm wearing those glasses. So, for example, when the smartphone came out, and everybody had like the most high tech was the BlackBerry at the time, or even any of your flip phones. The smartphone gave me the capabilities of doing things so much more efficiently. I could take a photo, have an email, do my work, send that email, make a video, document my life, and share it. And I was just doing that so much faster than you with your flip phone or with your BlackBerry. It gave me an edge on life that you just didn't have with your normal phone, and just accessibility and connectivity through that. And that's why the smartphone got adopted. The head device, or the AR and mixed reality device, will do the same once we have the hardware to actually the hardware that would prove it out. Because when I have that, it's going to make me way more efficient than you with a phone. So I'll give you an example. I'll be on a restaurant in the 10th floor in Los Angeles, right, of some beautiful restaurants. And while I'm there, I've got my glasses on, and we're like having a conversation, and an earthquake happens. Straight away, it will register that's an earthquake. Lights have gone out, things have fallen. It was a major earthquake. Straight away, the glasses would detect that an earthquake has happened. It would be reactionary and give me like night vision, or turn my lights on, or show me. And straight away, I will say there's three exits. One exit's it's on fire, because it will have the schematics of the building. This is some of the stuff that I had been working with Facebook. Have the schematic with the building, and there's a fire going on in this one, but these two are available, and straight away will give me turn by turn directions and arrows like right in front of my feet to get to those exits. As I'm walking to those exits, I see somebody's on the floor, they've been hit, their arms like cut open, they're bleeding out. And it will look, I'll look down, I'll analyze and see the situation and say, hey, do you want a virtual medic to assist you in helping this person? And the virtual medic will pop up and say, okay, what you need to do is tear the cloth, tie a tourniquet, do this, and you will be able to physically prep with the guidance of a um, um, uh, nurse, the virtual nurse, to be able to get that person ready so that they're not going to bleed out and they'll be okay until the medic comes. So the difference is that if a scenario happened like that with the phone, I would have to be going on the phone, like what's happening. I would have to be doing the inputs. I would be having to go where, okay, now where are the exits? Like it's me doing that. Whereas the glasses are reacting to the environment around me and responding immediately to the environment around me, and then giving me opportunities to be able to help the people around me too and analyze what's going on. This is a crazy time we're living in. It's like insane. Like, I mean, you just seen in the last year of what AI is doing with ChatGPT and Midjourney and all that stuff, and then also, like I said, all the blockchain and Web3 components that we were really looking at. Like, we're in a crazy time, and then also mixed reality, AR, VR, and that growing. Like we're truly on like we're on the frontier, the digital frontier right now, and like I feel like we're like creative pioneers that are going to like start to path like the way on what we're going to create. Like the rule book, we're going to have to rewrite because things are going to be different. But for me, that's exciting. That's yeah. Let's be responsible and let's create things that are good and positive and utilize these tools in a way that can really change the minds of people and build some really like I just like there's so much like in my head, like I've got all these concepts that I think could just be so great. They capitalize on all this new technology where people, we could create immersive personal experiences that communities and consumers that engage in these stories can actually have ownership of these stories through the blockchain, through Web3. And that's like kind of a big part. Like the latter part of what I've been doing is working with a company called Candy, where we create NFTs for MLB, for Netflix, for Getty, WWE, NASCAR. So a bunch of massive brands. But for me, it's like, how do we build experiences that are meaningful, that people can own and people can engage in and people can be a part of and really ignite their fandom through that. And those are the kinds of concepts that we're trying to build with Candy, that will utilize all these other technologies, AR, VR, AI, and to start building and really creating a fandom like never before.